Today, on Be Something Wonderful, must watch to transcend opposites and manifest your ideal reality. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I had a session yesterday where this client asked about opposites, the law of opposites, the law of polarity, and what to do when opposites come up. When you're focused on what you want, when you move to that new reality, when you announce your reality and what you want, when you have that anomalous burst of energy that we've talked about in previous videos, and you move to what you want, well, what happens when the opposites show up? Well, I've talked about that, but we really got at it in a different way yesterday. And she really got the idea. She said, you know, Tom, I now get opposites more than I ever have. And she understands that there's nothing to do with them. You don't have to identify with them. That when you declare a new reality, when you move towards what you want, the opposites are there. But you give everything meaning. And remember, you're the center of the divine mind. You're not only at the center, you are the center of the divine mind. So you have dominion over all conditions. And she brought up the idea that when opposites come up, she kind of feels bad for them, feels like there's something that she needs to fix within her. But remember, it's never about trying to fix or change who you think you are. It's about knowing and being aware of who you really are. Then you have dominion over opposites, or those lower laws like the law of polarity and the law of opposites, right? Those lower universal laws. Because remember, you are that I am. You are the center of the divine mind. You have dominion over all of that. And you can transmute those unwanted conditions into the conditions that you want. This is what the Kabbalion talks about in the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, in those Hermetic teachings, in those 7 universal laws. But those 7 universal laws have been talked about in other texts as well. We'll cover a little bit of that today. But the idea is that those are part of the laws of the manifested reality, of creating within that beingness, right? So mastering reality creation, having dominion over 3D world conditions, manifesting the life of your dreams, is not about changing or fixing who you think you are, but rather knowing who you really are. Knowing you're a limitless spirit having a physical human experience. Knowing that you're not only at the center of the divine mind of God, that you are the center. That's big. Let's hit it. So creating, assume, imagining, manifesting your ideal life experience of reality is not about effort and struggle, but rather awareness and recognition of your unique place in the divine mind of God. Right? All that is, or God, wouldn't be complete without you. No matter how unimportant or insignificant you sometimes assume you are as a physical 3D you. Especially when we manifest what we believe or we see or perceive or manifest. It's just seeing or perceiving. Unwanted or opposite conditions. Right? You are greater than all of it, as we talked about yesterday. Right? So all that is, God, couldn't exist without you. That's how important you are. That you exist and will always exist. Because God has a thought of you. And as long as God thinks of you, you exist. Right? You are the first thought of God. If God stopped thinking of you, you would cease to exist. And that's impossible. Remember, you were created in God's image, which means God contemplating itself. The first movement or first manifestation of God, of the absolute divine mind. You might call it the first polarity. Right? The first creation, the Son of God. Because God thought of you. God contemplated itself as consciousness, as awareness. Becoming aware of something, becoming conscious of something. Right? That absolute mind, that divine mind, that complete isness of reality contemplating you. Right? And so you were made in God's image. That means as you contemplate, as you think in that divine mind, you create your own experience of reality. Right? Beingness is created out of the isness of God without ever changing God. It's nature. You never take or add to God. You never takes away or add to God. So as you create, that means the conditions of your life, even what you see as opposites, don't ever take or add anything to you. You're unaffected by all of it as a divine center of God, as one with God, because you were made perfect in God's image. That's powerful. That pure awareness or unconditioned consciousness is aware or conscious of itself as living substance. This is the primal polarity is formed as God consciousness is conscious or aware of its own self or its living substance. It now becomes aware. Consciousness must be conscious of something. Awareness becomes aware of something. That pure unconditioned awareness is aware of something, but it doesn't change the unconditioned awareness of that pure awareness. It is an image in the mind of God. It's a mental image in the mind of God. That's why when Jesus asked his disciples, and who do people say I, the Son of Man, am? In other words, I as Jesus having this spirit, me as spirit, having a physical experience. Who am I? Peter answers, you're Christ, the Son of the living God, the Son of that living divine mind, that one mind that's never changed by any of the changes that take place within it. Right? The great divine mind, the great I am of God, the absolute all power, all intelligence, the all. Right? That's why it's said in Scripture, for in him we live and we move and we have our being. We exist. As a thought in the divine mind, we'll always exist as long as God's thinking of us. Right? This beingness, this first thought or manifestation of God is God's Son. That's the beingness. Out of the great isness of reality, the great absolute of reality, comes this beingness. In this beingness is where we live and we move and we have our being. That's where all of these laws, these other laws, the law of polarity or opposites, law of relativity, all of that, all that movement, all that change comes out of that. It's the experience of evolving or manifesting is possible because of this beingness. It doesn't change the beingness. It doesn't change you as a divine center of God. But you're able to have that experience of change, that experience of polarity, that experience of opposites, that experience of movement within that mind. The experience, God experiencing what it knows experientially, knowing what it knows now experientially. With God, all things are possible. That's why, that's all possibilities. Remember, God is all power, all intelligence. It's the all. But in that beingness, in that manifested beingness, in God's Son, that all power becomes infinite power. That all intelligence becomes infinite intelligence, infinite ways to experience reality. Right? The all is mind, the divine mind, and you are the Son. You as the Son are the divine creative center. Very powerful. So you have the divine mind, the absolute, the Father, the Lord, or the law. Right? Never changes. That's the Son of the living God. That's the living God. That's the living divine mind. That's the isness. That's all power and all intelligence. But from that, the thought, God has a thought, and that's the Son. That's the beingness. That's the living substance, aware of being something, conscious of being itself. God contemplating itself, just as you contemplate. That's why you were made in God's image, so you create the same way. God gave you that gift to contemplate yourself. That's why the law of assumption is so powerful. Who do you say you are? As you define yourself, as you contemplate yourself, you create your entire life experience. And opposites are just movement or change within that changeless reality, right? This is what makes the experience of reality, movement, change, and manifestation possible, right? That Son, that beingness, that thought of God, existing under the law or the Lord, it's existing, but it's governed by other laws, right? The law, you might want to call them the law of beingness, as the Hermetic teachings talk about. The law of correspondence, the law of vibration, the law of polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender. But remember, the correspondence and vibration and mentalism, those first three laws, are called immutable because they're true on every plane of reality. But remember, there is one law that's over all of them, and that's the great isness of reality, the one and only law, or the Lord. There is no other. But while having that experience of change in the changeless, that beingness, it's governed by these other laws, the law of opposites, right? But you don't have to do anything of it. You transcend them as you know who you really are, right? So that's what was set forth in these teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, right? In these Hermetic teachings. So we're not going to go into those in detail, and we probably will on the membership channel. But what I like about this, what I like about these teachings, these Hermetic teachings, is they reconcile the Lord of the law with man, the Son of God, the Spirit having a physical experience. right? With the law or the Lord, the absolute law, with the physical experience, with spirit having a physical experience. It reconciles that. There's universal laws with laws of manifestation, if you want to call it, right? These were said to be secretive because they were passed down from student to student, from lip to ear, to the truth has been handed down among the few. Very, very powerful bridge here. And so just as you were created as a thought or by the self-contemplation of God, you create in God's image, right? You were created in God's image, but you create in that same image by self-contemplation. God gave you that ability as a conscious creative center in God's mind. When you think into the divine mind thinks, right? All power is available to you, but only in the extent that you recognize and are aware of it. Right? As you transcend lower laws, such as polarity, rhythm, cause, and effect, you transmute those opposites or those unwanted conditions into what you desire. You turn them into worthy conditions, right? This is what the text says. Knowing your place in the divine mind, knowing the nature of the universe, use the law against laws, the higher against the lower, by the art of alchemy, transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy. Sounds a lot like Neville Goddard's teachings, right? Turn your undesirable conditions into what you want by using law against law, right? Remember, that's what makes Neville Goddard's teachings and the law of assumption so powerful. You transcend lower laws, and you transmute undesirable conditions into what is desired. How? By contemplating who you are through the law of assumption, assuming you are that person you want to be already. Right? Just as the divine mind contemplates or thinks of you on your level of experience, right, through those universal laws, it means that you're contemplating your rightful place within the divine mind, right? Moving your focus, your assumption to your imagine and wish fulfilled. So always seeing the reality the way you want to see it, your ideal, right? The absolute power, intelligence, and creative substance of the divine mind works through you in accordance with your recognition and awareness of it. So it's all power and all intelligence of God. Wherever God is of all, the all of God is. So wherever you are at all power and all intelligence is available to you, but only as you're aware of it. That's why Jesus said, according to your faith, let it be done to you. According to your recognition, according to your awareness of who you really are, let it be done to you. That's why opposites, for this client now, they don't have any effect on her. She gets it that she transmutes them. She changes them into what she wants. That's powerful. Remember, that's the law of reciprocity. As you turn to God, God turns to you. Full power, right? So, as Neville Goddard taught, you become what you contemplate or assume. It's not by effort or force, but by assumption. Right? The limitless power of the divine mind is not yours personally, but it's yours as a part of that oneness and unity with God. You as a divine center. Right? So as the BSW subscriber mentioned, I think on the channel, she mentioned the quote of Neville's that I mentioned in an older video. They put it on the channel. Life is not a struggle, but a surrender to your wish fulfilled, a surrender to that higher power, a surrender to your place in the divine mind. Right? Our prayers are answered by the powers we invoke, not by the powers we exert. And what are those powers that we invoke? It's the all power and all intelligence of God. You as a divine center. So you transcend those lower laws of polarity, of opposites, as you stand in your assumptions, as you stand in your new reality. Right? That's why this is a much watch to transcend opposites and manifest your ideal reality. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creatives, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, for joining our TikTok at Be Something Wonderful, for joining our membership channel. If you're a member, thank you. If you're not, check it out. There's a link below. We have a live stream this Sunday at 9 a.m. in the morning, coming to you live from Las Vegas. We're going to do our 7th live stream, where you're sending your questions to info@besomethingwonderful.com. That will be broadcast exclusively on the membership channel. Creators, with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, this is Tom with Be Something Wonderful, coming to you from the studios in Las Vegas. Until next time, see you soon.